What is an estate-grown coffee? How does it differ from other specialty coffees? Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to CoffeeShop Vibes. I'm Mike, welcome to Ispirare Coffee. Today we're going to talk about estate-grown coffee. You might have heard of coffee coming from specific farms or specific estates. What is that? How does that differ from other specialty coffees? Is estate-grown coffee, is that the future of specialty coffee, at least high-end coffee? I'm going to break down everything you need to know about estate-grown coffee and what it isn't as well in this video, guys. Hey, welcome again to CoffeeShop Vibes. This is a monthly show that dives into the nuances of specialty coffee shops. So if you love coffee, you want to learn more about the types of coffees that coffee shops serve or things you should order or anything about the world of specialty coffee, make sure you subscribe. I'm also going to be doing another monthly video that dives into each region and the flavor characteristics and different qualities of coffee from the main coffee producing regions around the globe. So if you love coffee, again, make sure you subscribe. So what is estate-grown coffee? Well, if you watched our last video on what is Geisha, this is our Geisha, our special holiday release from a specific farm, Finca La Terraza in Colombia. And it, by definition, is an estate-grown coffee because it comes from one coffee farm. Now, what isn't an estate-grown coffee? Well, a single origin coffee, or most of these coffees that we do are typically coffees that come from a coffee co-op or a coffee washing station where they'll take 100, 200, 300 small farmers or more, right? They each own a couple acres of land. That's how it typically works in the world of specialty coffee. From Africa to the South America, Central America, we're talking about a lot of the times about small farm holders or small lot holders that will have, 4 acres, 5 acres of coffee. They'll pick them, they'll bring them to a central washing station. That station will take good care of the coffee and it will process the coffee, sort the coffee, however they want it to be processed, maybe natural, maybe washed, whatever it may be, right? And they'll come out, labeled either in the co-op's name or the town's name. But it's not from one particular farm. It could be farms from like a 10 to 20 mile or 20 kilometer radius around that town, bringing their coffee to the central co-op or washing station and labeling it, whatever that may be, some Yirgacheffe coffee from Ethiopia with a certain name, some Colombian, some Costa Rican. That is typically what you see in the world of specialty coffee. You can source it back to that station and this plot of coffee farmers. Now, with Geisha, of course, and some other ones, we start hearing about these estates, which are actually larger, more financially independent coffee farms that might have, 200, 500, 1,000, 1,500 acres of coffee plants, and they are processing the coffee on their estate like they did with this Geisha. This is a washed one, again, from Colombia, Finca La Terraza. And if you will notice on the bags, most specialty coffee shops, if they are producing this coffee, this is going to be very, very high-end coffee. Let's understand this. This is going to be the pricier stuff because it's coming from a particular farm. Very much so like you would have wine vineyards, right? Where it comes from a certain vineyard and it's produced on site. Coffee in some ways is becoming a little bit more like wine at the high-end market. And of course, if you're a coffee nerd, you might be hearing about these fermented coffees, anaerobic coffees. People are doing different things where they're leaving the skin on the coffee beans, letting them ferment, doing different things in the processing. And a lot of that uniqueness and a lot of that testing is being done on at estate-owned farms, not at these washing stations or co-ops, but they're being done on these particular farms with their real high-end coffee. And that's why you see even green beans selling for $15, $20 a pound from these particular farmers. So, that begs the question, is it the future? And to be honest with you, it is leaning that way in the very, very high-end market that people are searching for particular producers, because now what is happening in the world of specialty coffee is how they process it, right? It's not typically just washed anymore. It's going to be anaerobic or some form of natural processing or a honey processing. And the farmers are becoming kind of like the experts on this processing of their own coffee, and they're picking the very best from their field and they're getting a higher margin for it, and they can take these coffees to auction. So in the high-end market, you see more people planting Geisha, you see more people planting pink bourbon, and Bourbon and other varietals of coffee, and doing different things with the processing on their estate where they can control the whole process and take this to an auction or take it to market at a much, much higher price. One of the reasons coffee prices are going up in the world is because a lot of the small farmers, they're not getting that high price for coffee, and they're choosing to plant other crops. So that is hurting the coffee supply. So in the very ultra end, the $30 a bag plus, right? A lot of it has moved or is moving to particular estates. Now that's good and bad. I mean, the one thing about us, we use a lot of fair trade organic coffees, and what happens in that case is those small farms or those small lot holders are actually being paid more than the market rate for their coffee. It's helping them finance and do better farming techniques, but it's also improving their quality of life. When it comes to these estates, most of them are already financially well off, more so than these independent farm holders. So that is maybe a drawback of estate-grown coffee. Of course, you're getting a much rarer, much more specialized product, but you are pulling money away from these small farmers in these communities that you typically would be impacted or economically impacted in a positive way by these specialty coffees and the co-ops and people paying a higher premium for their coffees. But now you have these particular states that are growing, and they might be buying up other lands from other farmers and being very, very particular with the coffee that they are producing. So, estate-grown coffee, it comes from a very specific farm. And it's being typically produced on that farm, processed, and then sent to market. And again, that's where you're going to get some of these very, very high-end, pricey, and different wild or exotic processed coffees, and probably a lot of different tastes in those coffees as well. Fruit forward, you're going to see them roasted lighter by the specialty coffee shops. So that's estate-grown coffee. We'll see where it goes. It's something that's becoming more and more relevant in the world of specialty coffee. And if you go to a specialty coffee shop, you might see a finca, something, or an estate on the bag, and that is the deal. And that's how it differs from specialty coffee. All right, guys, hopefully you found that interesting. If you want to learn more, again, make sure you subscribe. If you have any additional questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Hey, thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe because we have a lot of great videos about coffee upcoming. I can't wait to share them with you. We'll talk to you soon. Live inspired.